Oh, yeah, it's the black site number.
Woo,
nice.
Nice. Paper Snake's taking a very long nap dreaming about all those unused audio files of him screaming and grunting.
Don't go.
Do go.
Kill shot.
After such a long little nap there, I feel like I just need to take a nice, long smoke break. Just start ruminating on stuff. Just start thinking. You ever think about thinking? That's the point I'm at right now.
Whoa. I thought about thinking so hard that it rained for 5 minutes.
And I'm just thinking about all that cut content in Metal Gear Solid 5 and how there's a texture file you can rip from the game that it says Chapter 3, Peace! And how this collectively destroyed the minds of thousands of people on the internet. Never be game over.
Never be game over. Hey man, Nietzsche quote in your face.
So, after this game came out, within the first week or two when people were beating the game, lots of people were going, oh, that's it? It feels like there should be something more. I'm experiencing a phantom pain. But then people started data mining and they found like evidence of like, oh, like there's some other ending that's going to be triggered by disarming all nukes. So they're like, okay, let's, there's like subreddits and message board threads just like, okay, let's all work together. Let's get rid of all these nukes so we can unlock the true ending to the game.
Mm-hmm. And instead, it's more like a yet another non-final step along the journey of Venom boss and etc.
Yeah. And so there is one point in the Metal Gear Solid's subreddit, I believe, where somebody else made a post about a big theory they had, like, okay, the nuclear disarmament ending isn't the thing we hoped it was for, but everything about this, the way this game ends, is very suspicious. Kojima likes to mess with people in the marketing for his games. I don't trust anything that comes out regarding Metal Gear ever since Metal Gear Solid 2. So,
even all those tears were just allergies. You don't know where you stand with this guy.
Yeah. It eventually spawned this other subreddit called Never Be Game Over. The thing, the saying that is on the back of Eli's jacket in the game. And at first, it was just a group of people theorizing, like, oh, if there is some other alternate ending, like, how is this other ending going to come about? Is it already in the game? Is it going to get patched later? How do we activate the ending? What are some, like, are there future dates coming up that we should be paying attention to where they're going to surprise us with all of Chapter 3?
And in the middle of this, how are they dealing with Kojima being very clearly sidelined and then later let go from the company that would be required to do this patch or whatever?
Yeah, and like this was like, I think it was like within the last 6 months of development of this game that like it was known that Kojima was leaving. Like he said, like, I could leave, but I'm going to stick through to the end of the development of this game. But it's none of them handled it well. It all started out with good intentions, but it never be game over. And even outside of that community, just other YouTubers and message boards, things over the years spiraled out of fucking control.
Yeah.
It began to evolve into not just like theories about a game, but like a full-on Hideo Kojima conspiracy truther movement.
Yes.
And I brought this up a few updates ago of the idea of this thing called the Ruse Cruise. Hideo Kojima is taking us on a Ruse Cruise, everybody. Everything that's happened with his firing, the weird development of Metal Gear Solid 5, Death Stranding, it's all tied together. PT and the cancellation of that game, it's all tied together. It all means something.
And like many cruises, your biggest takeaway will be norovirus. So watch out for that.
Within like just a month or two after Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, there was already that announcement video with Kojima going like, hey, I'm starting my own studio, also called
Oh
Kojima
yeah, it's
Productions.
just like Ludens on the Moon. That one.
Yeah, that thing,
Yeah.
and like it was also an announcement video with I can't remember his name right now. The guy who was the head of like Sony Entertainment at the time, who just left a few months ago. But they were just on a couch together, going like, "We're so excited to announce that Kojima's going to be making a game for Sony with his new studio." And all of this was taken as to be an extension of the marketing campaign of Metal Gear Solid 5. Just because like Metal Gear Solid 2 made everyone paranoid, and the marketing of 5 was like intentionally very like mysterious because it's good marketing.
That was 18 years ago.
They're
I mean,
still
I guess
scarred by it though. Like,
or rather, some of them have never lived in a world without Metal Gear Solid 2 in it.
yeah,
You have to consider that too.
that too, yeah. So it just became like this weird thing of I actually have to look at, because I bookmarked some stuff over the years regarding this insane stuff, but like people were constantly combing through Kojima's tweets from multiple years ago to try and find new clues, and one of the like beginning insane things they would do was go like, oh, he's trolling us. There's all these hints and just what seem to be completely innocuous tweets. They all have something to do with Chapter 3 of Metal Gear Solid 5. For instance, Kojima tweeted October 11th, 2015, bought Star Wars newspaper volume 3. It got posters of all series produced all over the world, and it's got a picture of C-3PO with his red arm that everyone went like, wow, that's like Venom Snake's robot arm. Because it says volume 3 on it, people are like, Chapter 3!
Okay.
Another one. Watched True Detective Season 2, Episode 3. Well designed indeed. Fresh to see Rachel McAdams smoke e-cigarettes while driving. Chapter 3!
Also smoking e-cigarettes.
Yeah!
Phantom Scar.
There was a really... Like, at least the next tweet had slightly more to do with the Metal Gear. But there was a time he tweeted... Kojima likes...
So is the takeaway that, what, like from the first one, it's going to be in space, and from the second one, Rachel McAdams will be a new character for Chapter 3? Like, what am I supposed to learn from these?
I don't know. It's just they saw whatever they wanted to see anytime the number 3 was involved.
3. Yeah, that's what they saw. Okay.
So there's another tweet that caught a lot of traction for like a week or two. Kojima likes to tweet what music he's listening to a lot. Like he'll take a picture of like
true.
A Sony View or whatever the fuck it was called, like playing a song, and it's got like the album art on it. So he tweeted September...
Or when he picks up vinyl, he'll take a picture of the actual album cover.
Yeah. He tweeted September 9th, 2015. All he says is 1984, and it's a picture of this little music player playing 1984 David Bowie from Diamond Dogs. And people are like, yo, Diamond Dogs, 1984, both of those are in Metal Gear. And
but we already have that connection. The game was out. We saw it happen.
But something's gonna happen with the game, because on top of all these things having, being in Metal Gear Solid 5 already.
Yeah.
On his music player, the song 1984 is track 9 out of 11. He tweeted this September 9th. So clearly, in just a few days, on September 11th...
we're 2 days from an announcement.
Yeah, something's gonna happen. Like, this is the shit they were reaching for, even at the beginning.
And then the 11th came and went without event, I would assume. Yeah.
And so, like, they have a very similar, or at least had, a very similar thought process to, like, the Q conspiracy theorists.
I was going to say flat earthers, but I'm not going to disagree either.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of commonality with flat earthers too. But
yeah, because these are things that all three of them share. Like they're not, the drive behind them isn't particularly dissimilar. Yeah.
The thing with Q specifically was just that there was always like some secret upcoming date where like everyone's gonna get arrested thrown in Guantanamo Bay or whatever.
Or the arrests that already happened, we're finally going to learn about them. If you're
totally
going real deep in. Yeah.
Hillary Clinton's already a body double. She's been in prison for 3 years already or something like that. Like,
yeah.
But
Q has come to.
Oh no! It's another hypnotized mental copy. Q Snake. Quantum Snake.
Yes, he's both Snake and not Snake. Oh my gosh.
Whoa. We're writing a new game right now.
This is chapter 3. We're doing it right now. You can see it on the video with the title card. This is chapter 3.
So there was another big thing that was going on for a little bit. There is a website people found that was ingsoc.org. Mm-hmm. This website does not exist right now.
Ingsoc, a reference to 1984, the book.
Yep.
Yes.
It had a timer on it, and it had a bunch of stuff like the website source code and stuff that all hinted to Metal Gear Solid 5 stuff. And people took it as an official website counting down to Chapter 3 or something for Metal Gear Solid 5. The timer came and went, and it eventually underwent a couple different changes where it was linking to this other site for this like supposed game called Blackhound or Blackhound 2, and everyone went, this is it. Kojima's new game is called Blackhound. It fucking went nowhere. It eventually just linked to like a Discord channel that I think was for like an indie game or something that somebody wanted to make. And it was just somebody fucking with everybody, so
there's a chance that Ingsoc was just somebody riding this wave, trying to jump on it for publicity for something entirely unrelated.
Yeah, pretty much. You can still find like all the pages got pretty well archived and all the changes on the Wayback Machine on archive.org. So I'll probably put those in the video afterwards. One of the big things that came out of this stuff was this idea that I brought up before of, Death Stranding has been announced, PT has been canceled, but all of this is a part of the plan for the next Metal Gear game, Metal Gear Solid Zero. Mm-hmm. The theory being it was going to connect most of Kojima's and not even his IPs, because it also includes Silent Hills. And it was just this vague idea of like, okay, Death Stranding is Metal Gear plus Silent Hill. It leads into Zone of the Enders or something like that somehow. There's like 3 million different theories about this shit, and everyone who produced content on YouTube about these theories never had any coherent thoughts and rather made like 2 to 4 hour long epics.
This is something that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the first things that really jumped out to me, like, this is flat Earth. This is flat Earth for video games.
Yeah.
That there's no definitive proof, but there's mountains of proof, you know? Like, I can't remember the names of any of these YouTubers, but one who I feel like was in on the ground floor. He just has that like true believer whiff around these videos. The second one in this huge epic saga spends a whole lot of time listing out parallels between nearly every movie paramedic mentions in MGS3 and what we know or think we know about Death Stranding at the point this video was made, including the incredible shrinking man. And what that has in common with Death Stranding is they both have physics in them. They both are about physics in some manner.
Yeah, I'm gonna like... When I'm editing around us talking about this, I'm going to be putting in some clips of some of the best of hits of this crazy shit.
This is also the person who, I don't know if this is where it came from. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but came up with the MGS0 thing by doing a very simple 80-step process in Photoshop to the Death Stranding logo.
Yeah.
To make it sort of look like MGS0.
Yeah, there's similar things where they where people alter the Bridges logo from Death Stranding into a similar thing. And like all of this comes from a thing that actually was real. Metal Gear Solid 5's original marketing, when they had the fake Moby Dick studio.
Yes. And the fucking Joaquin Mogren head and everything.
All right, I'm here with Moby Dick Studios head CEO, Joaquin Mogren.
Hello, Jeff.
Joaquin, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's very good to see you.
First of all, I should ask, what happened to your face? Are you okay?
Yes, I had a little accident, but I should be good by GDC coming up.
Like, all of that stuff, but, like, there were very obvious hints that this was a puzzle for the community to figure out.
Right.
And it's like...
And when I forget what the fake title was in that trailer, but when people plugged in a font that said Metal Gear Solid V...
Yeah.
That clearly fit and worked.
Yeah, because
it was one step.
When the game was first announced, when it was just like this whole fake studio and it wasn't Metal Gear related at all, it was just called The Phantom Pain.
Yeah.
So people were taking this thing that worked once before and then applying it to things that did not exist. Like, it's like a weird desire to like just be in that stage of a video game again, where it's just like you want to be in this weird collaborative, like for some people, I think that the theories and the wondering about what a game will be is like the game for them.
Yeah. But it starts this whole like ecosystem, right? Where you've got your true believers, but then come in the people making much more slick and polished content, driving SEO, linking to their merch store. There's the grifters that come after it, but then those people, with their ability to grab the algorithm and get in front of more people, start to convince people who become the new bottom level true believers, just looking for their own connections, however tenuous or spurious they may be, that then get scooped up and feed the grifters again. Yeah.
Like it's like, out of everything to do with like Kojima's games and Metal Gear Solid 5 and all that, this is maybe my favorite thing because it wasn't even intended. Like, it's just a really weird, really fascinating community thing that happens basically due to the grief of their favorite video game franchise ceasing to be.
And like I'm gonna keep talking about, I wish I could remember their name, but the same YouTuber from before, because they're the one that I watched the most of before. I just like, okay, I've reached my conclusions. I have other things to put in my brain now. Like they started in their first video with a very clear hypothesis that Death Stranding was Metal Gear Solid Zero, which was, at that point to them at least, a story, or at least the parts we've seen of it are the story of the boss in a coma after World War II, and like her coma dreams about having her child stolen from her, and that's where all the baby imagery comes from.
Right.
And Mads represents the sorrow, and she's like dealing with some guilt about blaming her husband for not being there because he's dead. And I mean, plausible enough stuff to build off of a theory with no clear evidence, but sure. But then in the next video, we're just getting that's out the window. Now we just have to prove that there is a connection. So we're grabbing everything we possibly could. This thing kind of reminds me of Psycho Mantis. Well, Psycho Mantis was never alive at the same time as the boss. So how does that get into her dream? It doesn't matter. No. We don't have to have a consistent theory that explains everything. We just have to keep finding new questions to ask for, well, how do you explain this then? Which again, very Q, very flat earth.
Yeah. One of my favorite things I saw, and this was a different like truth or conspiracy thing, separate from the one you were watching. One of my favorite examples of somebody analyzing one of Kojima's tweets to prove, there is a link here, was Kojima was at some type of event or party or whatever. There was a hallway in the venue he was at that had very vibrant, bright red lighting.
Okay.
And all Kojima said in the text was he just said, party. In the video, this guy goes, aha, there's something to this. In PT, there is a hallway that is red, but also the damning evidence is in the word party, and the video like
there's
zooms
a P
in.
and a T.
There's a P and a T in the word party. Proof.
But I'll raise you one more. There's also a hallway with stark red lighting in Mission 46 of Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain.
Oh my fucking god! Like, it's just crazy, and it's just fascinating to me. And one of the crazy things to me is also, like, this stuff began basically within a week or two of Metal Gear Solid 5 being released in 2015 in September.
Yes.
This community has been going on until now, days before Death Stranding comes out.
Yeah, we're recording this after the review embargo has dropped. Like, there are average Joes with press clearance who have hands on and are sharing impressions and limited Konami approved video and or not Konami, Koji Pro and Sony approved video.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm in on it. I know the truth. I'm sorry, I slipped up. Oh fuck, it was so close.
Oh man.
But have you been keeping like a finger on the pulse? You know how they're reacting at this point in the cycle?
Yeah. So I haven't been keeping as much of a tab as I would like. But that's just because a couple reviewers who have review copies have been leaking stuff from later in the game. I don't want to be spoiled, and people are just straight up posting spoilers, so I have to kind of squint and just look at the bold text. But in the past week or two, basically since leaks started coming out and was basically confirming hey, this game is its own thing. There might be an Easter egg or something that's like a little wink nudge to Metal Gear stuff. But it is
to be clear, I've
thing.
never doubted that it will be full of wink nudge Easter eggs.
Oh yeah, because that's just what Kojima games are. But
the Hand of Jehudi was in Metal Gear Solid 5. Yeah. That does not mean it's a prequel to Zone of the Enders.
But ever since the stuff started coming out and more, the image was forming that hey, this is its own thing. It is not any of the stuff we thought it was going to be in regards to it being a secret Metal Gear game. The community has started to maybe not lose it. They weren't going crazy, but some people, it was a crushing defeat, just a what have I been doing for the last 4 years of my life style thing. But then there were other people who were also going, no, everybody come back. We have to stick together. The Ruse is still happening. It's still going.
This is the Millerites. This is there are the Millerites who just went back to being mainline Christians, and there are the Millerites who became the Seventh-day Adventists. This is the split.
Yeah. And it's really interesting to see this same stuff happen to this community. And it's at a certain point, the Never Be Game Over subreddit has gotten a lot less active in the past few weeks once it became more apparent. And there were definitely some people there who were sticking there just because they thought oh, this shit is funny. I bookmarked one post that I just desperately want to read because it is fucking incredible. Oh, and also before we get to that, I do want to post one other very recent theory thing that came out. Kojima just tweeted it was a shot of his workstation where he was editing the launch trailer of Death Stranding in Adobe Premiere, and you could see some of his desk. There was some type of concept art for the game laid out on the table, but it was mostly covered up by a little Funko Pop style
I remember this.
Ludens. From the very small bit you can see this heavily skewed concept art is a bunch of people standing in a line that look like they may be in suits that has a similar layout kind of to the image of the philosophers you see when the boss is talking about them in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Also a similar layout to a basketball team posing for a photo. Also a similar layout to... come on.
Now, these people saw this, and some of them, got
It's the one way people take group photos.
Yeah.
There's no...
Yeah. And like some people took Photoshop and tried to like, straighten the thing out so you could get a better view of it. And they went, this looks like it could be the philosophers. Also, if we go back and look at the original image of the philosophers from Metal Gear Solid 3, there's a guy on the right in a suit who might be black. It's hard to tell because the photo is so, blurry on purpose. Is this Die Hard Man from Death Stranding? Is he one of the philosophers? No, he's not. His name is Die Hard Man, and he's from the future. Where the apocalypse has happened. Shut up. But that was like an example of like still very recent things happening.
But yeah, like my prediction is the people who were like interested in it are mostly going to be like, oh, well, that was a fun thing to think about.
Yeah.
I hope I still enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the like true believer content creators are going to have that real crisis, that real split. But the public face, the fucking grifter level, they're going to claim it as a win no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe the win they claim is, oh, well, it was all good in good fun, but we made you think. And we use the same thing to throw out a whole lot of other possible theories that haven't been disproven yet and never will, because there's not going to be another Kojima Metal Gear game ever.
Yeah.
So, like, one of the things I fell into was a video about how Miller was involved with Skullface the whole time, and like, yeah, I believe that. I've been saying that in the course of this whole LP.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that still honestly believes Miller's drive to punish Huey is a mix of covering his tracks and projection of his own guilt. Right?
Yeah.
I believe that. That doesn't mean I believe anything else you're saying, but that is the sort of thing that they will cling to hold on to their credibility, as the fact that the Ruse Cruise was itself a ruse becomes undeniable.
Before I get to this one post I want to read, is just a couple other like things I've bookmarked along the way I just thought were crazy. There's one YouTube channel that I don't think you saw. I didn't link it to you. It's called the Wet Work Network.
Oh my!
And it is full of Ruse Cruise style stuff. It has very few views and subscribers, and it truly feels to me like this is one of those grifter style things where they're just trying to get in on this and make some money off it through ad revenue or whatever. But it has that certain quality of conspiracy theorist videos that I fucking love, where they aren't doing the narration themselves, rather they are using a text-to-speech robot voice. That's the good stuff.
Oh yeah.
And the background is just like a black background with like space, like stars, and a huge web of like thin blue lines that convey like internet technology, scary. And there is a floating polygonal wireframe ghost woman face just looking around, floating about with this robot voice talking about how Death Stranding is connected to Zone of the Enders.
In this video, we will give a brief explanation and teaser of how Death Stranding is connected to Zone of the Enders.
Sam Porter preaches.
We have destroyed a porter.
In this tweet by Hideo Kojima, good friend and collaborator Jeff Keighley, we see him say in regards to Death Stranding, "You are not ready." If we decipher the obvious clue he left by spelling the phrase "you are not ready," in the same way we deciphered the last hidden message about Project Auteur, by using a word descrambler and pulling out possible words, and checking if any are Kojima related, we see a startling revelation. "You are not ready" is code for "to your ender."
Death Stranding is connected to Castlevania and Lunar Nights? The boss is...
Look, there's a question mark in it, so you can't say I'm wrong.
Yeah. The boss is Snake Mother and the Sorrow is his father? Death Stranding is connected to Control? Metal Gear Shared Universe PT Silent Hills? Like, it just has every keyword in the title. It's just madness. I love it.
My God. Oh no, I love those when theories tie in completely outside things
Yeah.
that apparently, according to one video I saw, Kojima runs the Arculect
Yes!
picture tweeting
God,
bot.
I almost forgot to bring this up. Yeah, the Arculect Twitter thing bot with the website. It just tweets cool fucking pictures.
It is openly a picture theft bot. Like
Yeah.
they're not even. They don't even shy away from that label, I don't think. Like,
Yeah.
and the big theory that was, you're gonna know I'm right, because every post has a sequential number. It goes up by 1 with every post, and we're getting close on such and such a date to the PT number, the 204 whatever number.
Yeah, 204863.
That came and went completely nonsense, unrelated, no clues.
God, that the Arculect thing like went on for at least like 2 years.
But just the idea that all these propose that like Kojima has a hand in or has control of so much. Like he is the secret conspiracy that controls the media.
Yeah, it fucking rules.
If that was true, he'd just make Hollywood movies. We
Yeah.
all know it. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Like every like 5 minutes we're talking about this, I remember another fucking crazy thing that was like a thing for at least a couple of months, if not a full year.
But I mean, all of this goes to show like all of these connections are built on like, this thing is in this game. I think I also see it in or hinted toward in this Death Stranding material. What you've done is you've demonstrated that Hideo Kojima and the people he works closest with like to reiterate plots and visual elements and themes and character tropes. You've invented auteur theory. That's what you've done. You've accidentally invented auteur theory, and that's okay. You can just do that.
Auteur theory, but spooky.
Like, yeah, he's so many creatives and so many writers will tell you there are only so many nuts and bolts rattling around in the coffee can that is my brain.
Yeah.
Like, that's a thing. It's okay.
This leads me to, I guess, let's talk about this one post. This is a fairly recent thing. This was not a joke post. This person had a history of coming up with theories on Never Be Game Over. And this was posted roughly a month ago. And this was something that even people on Never Be Game Over went, yeah, okay, bud, sure. Now, I'm sorry, this is a bit long, but it's worth the fucking ride. Here's the title of the thread. Either BB, the baby from Death Stranding, or Sam, Norman Reedus, is a decapitated head.
But I've seen both of their bodies.
No, but wait.
Attached.
No, wait. But listen to the theory. Either BB or Sam is a decapitated head whose consciousness, mind, soul, and data has been transferred to a new body to save them.
Matt Groening is a secret pseudonym for Hideo Kojima. He fed this to us over years of Futurama. Only the truly awake can see.
Oh, I should bring up, because we're talking about decapitated heads, this also is going to tie into the conspiracy theory or theory thing that was happening before Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, which is the head transplant theory, because the doctor from the intro of the game looks like an actual doctor who tried to do a head transplant.
Also, I can't believe I haven't mentioned it explicitly, but just the degree to which so many of these theories propose that Death Stranding is the story that Kojima has been trying to tell for 25 or 30 years.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No,
it's just, that's not how any creative endeavor works. If he would have done it to the best of the resources and ability he had then. Like that's how people do things. You're on better standing if you say this is the story he wanted to make now, but he wanted to tie it into those things from before. That's a thing that happens. That's a reasonable thing to say.
Yeah. But anyways, back to this theory. The person that they most likely are, BB or Sam from Death Stranding, is either Big Boss or Solid Snake.
Why can't they both be decapitated heads?
The only one. I am calling it. It is solid after Metal Gear Solid 4, where the ending was a lie or a simulation. In one of the Metal Gear Solid 4 commercials, he's talking about the ones from the beginning of the game that you could flip through the different channels, there is a cooking show that mentions a traditional snake sacrifice, where you can even see Kojima watching ominously in the back.
Oh no. Omnimon is there. It's also...
The cook grabs the capital S snake and cuts his head off, saying, "This is the last chapter of this snake's life."
This is the last chapter in this snake's life.
This is the reason of the head transplant doctor that Kojima hired. He actually hired him. Hired.
To do a head transplant, I assume?
Yeah, of the actual real-life Solid Snake. To save Solid, someone cut his head off his rapidly aging body, then put him on a beta for a simulation to heal people of PTSD.
Now, to be fair, to put it all out in the open, it was also a rapidly aging head, so I don't see how he's the baby.
This beta simulation is Ground Zeroes.
Oh, how is Ground Zeroes going to make you less PTSD?
I don't know. But somehow, the consciousness of Solid Snake influenced this simulation, creating the Deja Vu mission in Ground Zeroes, and other simulation projects influenced it too. The Jamais Vu simulation
of course,
with
they're
Raiden.
both in there.
They're canonical. Somehow, the Patriots' AI survived Sonny's virus, giving them some form of evolution to consciousness.
I mean, they did technically, like the brainstem metaphor, there is a part that survived that kept, like, the lights on.
Yeah.
I guess.
They realized they could not defeat humanity that easy, so they hijacked the PTSD treatment simulation, and boy, how happy they must have been to find their most hated enemy there defenseless.
I would love to see the Patriot AI standing around in a room and say, boy, how happy I am.
They put Solid Snake through phantom pain to break him by making him become a demon, but somehow Solid still unconsciously knew that something was wrong. So when he started doubting what was presented to him and taking moral decisions, they stopped phantom pain and created a badly made ending, a corrupted ending, to make him lose track of what really had happened.
Uh-huh. Okay. I'm reminded of H-Bomber Guy's video on Sherlock Season 4.
Yeah.
Which I watched very long ago, and I'm going to try to paraphrase what I remember the point being, which may not necessarily be the point. Like I say, it's been a while. But the idea that this is a symptom of people not liking the latest entry in a thing, the big concluding entry in a thing.
Yeah.
But not liking it in a way that final entry is not entirely dissimilar from the early things.
Yeah.
So instead of grappling with that point, instead, it was a ruse, it was a lie, there is more coming, this is not the real ending. Mm-hmm. The ending that will remind me why I liked those other things that are distinct in a way I cannot entirely square with the more recent one.
Yeah.
That will save me. So let me bring that into existence with these theories.
Yeah.
I didn't always buy that argument, but like if you bought it, you can see a parallel here.
Yeah. Next is PT, an MK Ultra mind-breaking simulation. Their latest resource to control Solid Snake, where he is presented with the thing that makes humans far more controllable: guilt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you killed your wife and whatnot. I'm a talking baby in a bag or whatever the fuck.
The different elements we see in PT are all to create guilt in him. Earth being destroyed by humans. That doesn't happen in PT, but all right. Him killing his wife and children. Humans being unresponsible, so decisions should be made by aliens that are in reality the AIs. And also him being a drunken, unresponsible father.
Yes, known drunk and irresponsible father, Solid Snake. He gave Sonny the best life anyone possibly could. You take that back.
It's true. He did the best he could. This was working, but somehow someone was able to hack the simulation and let some hints to him that everything was not real. This person was Jay. This is a thing I haven't really brought up much.
Wait, Dr. J from Gundam Wing? What?
Gundam Wing is part of Death Stranding? Where's Hero and Duo? Norman Reedus gets to pilot a Gundam?
Oh, sorry, wait. It's Dr. J from the NBA, excuse me.
Ah, yes.
My mistake.
So the J thing, a part of the puzzle of solving PT, there's a bunch of messages that appear on a pause screen or loading screen, I forget. But there's a bunch of messages, and some of them are signed by just the letter J.
Okay.
And that crosses over with Death Stranding because the second trailer for Death Stranding that features Guillermo del Toro, like in Hades or wherever it is with all the skeleton soldiers, when the camera pans up over his head, there's like a archway on this bridge, and on like the middle stone in the archway is a faint looking thing that you could interpret as the letter J. I'm pretty sure it's just a rock texture, but it kind of looks like the letter J, and this gave people a lot of fuel for multiple months about Death Stranding and PT's connection.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's definitely a face on the surface of Mars.
So yeah,
pictures always are what they look like.
Yep. So yeah, at this point, this person's theory is that Jay is the person who hacks the PT simulation to get Solid Snake out of there. Jay might be the computer Sonny put the virus in. The cracked egg was that it could develop a very advanced moral code, and the computer
right.
was
She turned JD into J.
Yeah.
We're all following.
And the computer was in reality the boss AI that is the reason parts of its server looked like the boss's tomb. That's a full run-on sentence. He's talking... This person is talking about the server room and in the Arsenal Gear thing in Metal Gear Solid 4 where there's a bunch of tombstones. After PT, they let Solid Snake free and give him his new Sam persona, who believes everything he has been told but still has the doubt, because somehow, deep inside, he remembers his friends, his family, and now he has BB to protect, a new generation to protect.
He believes everything, except he does not.
John Freeman was working at a computer. Death Stranding is not a totally 100% simulation, but happens in the moon.
It's a simulation. It could happen anywhere.
It happens in the moon, where the AIs have created every form of life and buildings out of a special matter that simulates all forms of matter and is able to build everything very quickly. In the last Death Stranding trailer, you can see buildings appearing out of nowhere from the dark matter, but it is not surfacing from it. It is being builded very quickly. Mm-hmm. Sam is activating strands for this system to work properly and under the AI's control. So in Death Stranding, Sam has some type of medical condition. I don't really know what it is, but it's called DOOMS, like DOOMS, right? This guy...
That's a stat in like a 2018 RPG.
Yeah.
It was funded on Kickstarter with 17 backers, and all of them love it to death.
Yep.
That is, yes.
But this person, they know what DOOMS stands for. DOOMS! Decaying online organic mimic substance. This is also the reason Sam explodes and ages. The matter cannot be touched by the rain because it makes the matter believe it is being corroded, thus simulating getting older, getting too much damage, and it becomes unstable. Then kaboom. People blow up in Death Stranding. Sam is able to come back alive in a newly made body made of this matter, but when he dies, he returns to different simulations of different worlds. In these other worlds, the things we bring back mentioned by Kojima are in reality his memories from his real life. We might return to PT or Ground Zeroes if we collect enough memories.
Okay. And then Raz comes and gives us the Psycho Blast.
Yeah! Sam's gonna get a merit badge. We can even see the black matter assimilating his body when he is grabbed by BTs, the spooky ghosts from the game. that are in reality the consciousness of people whose black matter bodies has not even been made yet, so they attack Sam to obtain his body. BT might stand for body transferred. That is all, and thank you for reading.
In conclusion, JFK Jr. is alive and is, according to Admiralty law, the real president of the United States of America.
That is all, and thank you for reading. Hope you all have a nice day.
I will. I will have a nice day, buddy. Oh, boy. I mean, this all points me to my conclusion point. Thank you all and have a very nice day. But this is what happens when narrative and theme and character and even plot take a backseat to lore.
Yeah.
Once the most important thing is lore, this is what you get. And like, if you didn't want that to happen, you shouldn't have made Metal Gear Solid 5 the way it was made. Because that whole game, it's mostly lore. Like your reward for playing through the game, like the theme is in the gameplay. That's great. The plot is the plot. But like the treat is all the tapes that tell you what happened between all the games that you don't know what happened between. Yep. And the final twist is the biggest piece of lore that you're playing through and jumping through all these tapes to get the true lore. And then you get the best lore. You get the most entertaining, most explanatory tapes when Major Zero is finally being the character that his 2 appearances needed him to be.
Yeah.
And then that primes an audience to make this.
It's really interesting to see all this stuff going on because like our Let's Plays have been going on for 11 years, and for about 10 years, we've been talking about Metal Gear Solid.
Yes.
Like,
yes, we have.
I mean, we've been talking about Metal Gear Solid for longer than that. I was telling you about Metal Gear Solid 2 in the cafeteria when I was in like fucking 11th grade or whatever, so...
Yes, yes. This has been an ongoing thing in our lives together. And I love every minute of it. I do.
Basically, in the entire time we've known each other, almost. Metal Gear.
Yes. Which is what makes this being the final update a very strange thing. But I don't want to think about that right now until after we've hit the stop button.
Yeah. So, it's like, you can kind of see it with me, at least, throughout all of these Let's Plays. The reasons why I enjoy Metal Gear kind of stay the same, but some parts of them change across this entire series. When I played Metal Gear originally, I loved it because I thought it was fun, and I loved like plot. I loved the lore of it. It was complicated. It was fun to spend hours reading about the lore and trying to, dedicate every ounce of it to my fucking memory.
You know, my favorite part of Metal Gear Solid lore, my favorite part is that Nastasha's publisher was a weirdo-ass alien abductee who Snake rescued from Shadow Moses.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah. That's weird bit.
That's the best to me.
That's a weird bit that, like, it's very easy to not remember. And, like, I still love the lore. It's just fun. It's fun to me. But, like, one of the main reasons why I appreciate Metal Gear at this point, and came mostly through these Let's Plays, honestly, is the not always successful attempts at its themes. And trying to weave those themes into gameplay when it can, or even through the marketing, like Metal Gear Solid 2, a big part of its themes came from the way it was marketed. And it's fun, it's interesting to see so many people who seemingly still seem to be stuck with Metal Gear as this is the cool lore game. And I don't know, I'm glad I have moved on beyond that, thankfully. I can appreciate I have media literacy. Hey everybody, I can read a media, kind of. I couldn't do that when I was 13 and playing Metal Gear Solid 2 the first time. Woo!
But you didn't really have to, or at least it interacted differently because the lore, the capital L lore, happened in the game.
Yeah. It
was the part that's happening now. Very little of it happened between games back then.
Yeah.
Now we're to a part of 4 a bit and 5 a lot. The important stuff is it's foreshadowing, like confirming what you thought was going to happen is going to happen, and telling you what happened since last time, but you don't play that part. They just talk about it at you.
Yeah. People argue that, like, oh, the way this game ends and the way that a lot of things in this game are unsatisfying is, like, the point of it. And, like, I totally buy that some of those things are supposed to be, like, disappointing or just feel anticlimactic or kind of make you feel this sense of, like, oh, I missed that. Like, you know, oh, like, Quiet, like, just disappears and she's gone for the rest of the game. Like, sure, that's, you know, that's on purpose. But, like, it's funny to see, like, the whole idea of, like, the real phantom pain is the lack of closure. Like, it's funny to see that thing kind of unintentionally happen more with PT than Metal Gear Solid 5. The amount, the sense of, like, disappointment and longing and just, like, the pain of, like, this really fucking interesting thing just never being able to come to fruition, but, like, we have a taste of it. But it's just kind of funny to see, like, that interpretation of 5, like, work much better, at least in my opinion, for a completely separate Kojima-related thing.
Yeah. Yeah, by the time you're hearing this, you may well have Death Stranding in your hands.
Yeah, it's...
So draw your own conclusions, I guess.
Yeah, it's... I mean, a couple people have already asked me, like, hey, are you going to do a Let's Play of Death Stranding? And the answer is, I don't know.
Not next.
Not
is,
next.
I think, the most certain thing that can be said.
Absolutely not next. It's... Metal Gear Solid 5 was a challenge to do a Let's Play of because it's such a big, massive game that lends itself to playing it in different ways, and like that is one of the reasons why we did a Let's Play of Watch Dogs. I wanted experience trying to LP an open world game before I did Metal Gear Solid 5. And Death Stranding seems like a completely different crazy thing to tackle, because not only is it like a big open world game, it's a big open world game that is focused on simulating hiking.
Yes.
It's got lots of mechanics about hiking, and there is stealth and combat and boss fights and the usual Kojima stuff, but it heavily leans towards hiking.
I have heard there is a system that will gradually degrade your boots that is dependent on the terrain you're walking on and how you walk on it.
Yeah.
Like, that's... No one else in the world. Nobody else would make that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a weird thing. If we visit at some point, it'll probably be a while from now.
I expect Death Stranding to be absurdly polished.
Yeah.
Idiosyncratic, like nothing else on the market, and like indicative of a clear vision, even though it may not be clear what that vision is.
Yeah.
And those are all things that I am predisposed to respect and think are good things that should exist in the world.
Yeah.
I would also predict it's going to be treat its women characters very poorly. Show a post-apocalyptic America that is much whiter than actual present-day America.
Yeah, probably. I mean, in the major cast, there is one black guy and everyone else is a white person, so
there you go.
I mean, you know, who knows? There might be other characters they don't want to spoil, but they'll probably be a very beautiful white person. that's the majority of the characters in Kojima's games for the most part, you know, so...
I mean, I also expect it to, despite its polish, have points where its reach clearly exceeds its grasp, and those will be very frustrating points for players. Like, I think we know what to expect if you give Hideo Kojima a big old team and a giant bucket of money.
Yeah.
We just watched it. We just watched it for 68 updates. We know.
It's, and for, like...
And people's big problem is they didn't give him a big enough bucket of money.
Yeah, like, it'll be also interesting just to see, like, were there lessons learned from 5 with this open world structure, because it's got issues. My other thing is, are they going to learn from the pacing issues of 5? And I'm going to say, even if they do learn those lessons, they might have a actually hard time applying those lessons because getting pacing right in a video game that has constantly moving parts seems very fucking hard.
Especially in an open world game where there's like, it's getting the pacing right in Uncharted is hard, but it's a lot easier than when the player is having a very active role in determining the pacing. For instance.
So I don't know. That's in the future.
But before we wander on and talk about something else for another half hour, thanks everybody for joining the latest episode of Chip Out Ironicast.
Wow, we did a podcast again.
We did one.
Now that Metal Gear Solid. So okay, one more thing. We're not getting into goodbyes yet because that's going to be later when we record the other second chunk of this video at a later point. But I will say, oh my fucking god, I am so happy that this Let's Play is going to be done. It is not held me hostage, but my commitment to doing this good and sending it off is something I could not get out of me. So it's just been a lot of work, and I can't wait to look at Mario's taint instead.
This is definitely like for you, this is the episode of Malcolm in the Middle where the dad just paints that thing in the garage and it turns out it's like 18 inches thick of paint and it all falls on him.
Yeah, it's basically that.
Yes, it's that.
It's going to be 18 hard drives with all the Metal Gear Solid 5 footage falling on top of me. I literally cannot record any more LP footage because all of my hard drives are full. This is it.
Good thing this one's just audio. Hey, for now.
For now. What's Vapor Snake doing?